Have you ever returned from a trip and felt changed somehow, and you're not sure what it was exactly that happened on your trip that maybe caused this transformation? We all know that travel can transform us, but how do we articulate what happened and really what caused this change? And yes, there's some positives about getting out of our routines, and I'll get to that some more. But there's actually science behind how this transformation or change happens while you're traveling. Welcome to Solo Travel Adventures. I'm Cheryl Esch, your certified travel coach. I've been doing some research lately, really interested in understanding the science behind transformation and how travel can change you mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. And I've started reading a book called Awe by Dr. Keltner. And he basically he's a scientist, and he talks about, really, I call it the science of awe, AWE. And awe is the feeling of being in the presence of something vast. This is his definition, that goes beyond our comprehension. Yes, it's an emotion, but it can really affect our physiology. So physiology is not just our mind, but also our body and our emotions. And to feel awe, it actually requires something novel, some novelty, or something unexpected, rather than the comforts and certainty practiced in our daily lives. So I believe this is partly why when we travel, we might be awestruck with something that we're seeing maybe for the first time, because it's uncommon, it's uncertain, it's brought us out of this routine of our daily lives, and it's something we likely have never seen before, maybe. And so this is one reason I can, give as why travel presents us with many opportunities to experience awe, because when we travel, it's usually someplace new. Not always. But awe can present itself, physically. You can see sunsets that just keep your jaw open, and you're just in wonder of the beauty of it. Think about the 7 wonders of the world, or the 7 natural wonders, or the 7 ancient wonders of the world, and how remarkable a lot of those, whether they're structures or natural wonders, just how are they created? It just blows my mind often. The vastness of something too will give you that feeling of awe. And I think of sort of the vastness of whether it's a mountain range that I'm looking at, or the Grand Canyon. And I just often, when I do travel, because I do like to spend time in nature, I am often awestruck, because there's things that I will see that are not maybe something I would see in my country. However, I do find myself in awe sometimes just watching a sunset. Now, sunrises are beautiful too, but I'm not a morning person, so I don't see as many of those. So those can also be just that moment of awe, watching that sunrise. Just creation in itself gives me pause, and I just reflect, and it's like, wow, that God created this. This was created for us. So you can feel awe through nature, as I mentioned. Doesn't have to be. Some people find awe in art. So this could be not just physical art like paintings or sculptures. It could be in music as well. So some people, that's where they get this feeling inside of just remarkable awe. They're just awestruck. You could even have a spiritual encounter that gives you this feeling of awe. New art, when we travel, we often see new landscapes. We often, for me, sometimes it's just a different hike or a different walk that presents an opportunity to see new things and to reflect and just to be in awe. And I love the fact that now, I mean, I'm sure it's been years, this gentleman has been doing research on happiness, I believe was his first book. And now he's just tapping into, because this book was just written in 2023. So it's fairly new research on the science of awe, AWE, that we're noticing how it can affect us in our brains, right? When we are in that place of awe, our brains just start to light up. Apparently, he's done some research on kind of what parts of your brain do activate during those times, those feelings of awe. And I find myself, when I travel, having many moments of this. And it could be wherever I'm going. And sometimes it does just require slowing down and not just running from place to place, but spending those moments, whether it is nature that makes you awestruck or art, going to a museum to see something new or listening to music. Maybe it's sitting out in the dark sky and seeing all the stars and just in wonder of all that's out there. And I often, my kids have even said, when I travel, I'm a different person. And I think some of this plays into it, because when I'm traveling, I have a spirit of gratitude, and I often will pause and just marvel, even if it's something, I mean, like, for example, thinking about, I did hike Machu Picchu, that was in nature, but as I sat and looked over the cliff and I saw the actual Machu Picchu city and all the stones that they built these structures with, you just have to marvel at how they climbed up these hills, these mountains, carrying these big slabs of stone to actually build this structure. Same with like the pyramids of Egypt. You think about, how did they build those? You go back whenever they were built, like nowadays you might say, okay, well, we have cranes now, but they didn't then. And so those things, to me, when I look at even the history of something too, it brings this nature of awe to me, because it's unexplainable to me. And although we have history that might explain certain things, I still marvel at all that. And I know it doesn't require us to travel to feel this. So I'm going to encourage you in two ways. If you are planning a trip coming up, I want you to keep in mind as you're, taking your travels, doesn't matter where you go, even if you're going to a city, right? I mean, I was marveling at things in Paris, and that's a big city. Take some moments and reflect and absorb and fill your mind with that feeling of awe, and let it sink in, because it's affecting your physiology. It's going to affect your body, right? It's going to also affect your brain, as I mentioned. But even physiologically, your body, when we have these, I'll just call them positive or happy kind of feelings, there's also a immune system response that is beneficial to us. So, I mean, I think about the movie that Robin Williams did, and where he made the sick patients laugh, right? And how healing that was. So this too, being out there where you reflect and you are experiencing the nature of awe, that can also have that physical healing property in my opinion, because it does affect your whole physiology. So going on your trip, I want you to spend some time, or make that sort of, just be aware of that as you are traveling. And then if you don't have a trip planned, this is something you can practice even in your, wherever you are, in your locale and in your everyday life even. Maybe something mundane as watching the birds, sitting and just marveling at how they go from bird feeder. If you have bird feeders, you're going to see them more, or listening to their calls or their sounds. Maybe just watching some flowers bloom over a course of a week and being in awe of all that, of creation generally. Or maybe you want to go attend a concert that is going to bring you that joy and that nature of awe to yourself. So I encourage you, because this is I think it's kind of one of the foundations of understanding how travel can be transformative, how it can heal us, even intentionally, yes, but that's not your main focus maybe. Yes, there are times when we can be intentional about using a particular trip for healing purposes. Yes, and I'm all about that. That's part of my coaching program. But I'm just talking about a normal travel that you're going to do, that you can incorporate that so that you come back changed and transformed just from that simple act of being in awe of whatever it is you are experiencing in your travels or even in your day-to-day life. Again, as I mentioned, before, I have a coaching program, and if you want to really experience some change and some transformation in your next trip, go to hello@CherylBeckEsch.com, or you can go to my website, CherylBeckEsch.com, and check into that program. I love to hear from my listeners, and let's get on a discovery call, and get out there and discover the science of awe and how it can transform your next trip. Did this podcast inspire you to participate in a solo journey? Well, my hope is that all women 50 and up have the courage and opportunity to experience at least one solo trip in their lifetime. But maybe you're feeling stuck about trying it solo. With my one-on-one travel coaching program, I can help you have a transformative trip, especially for those who are needing healing. Go to my website, CherylBeckEsch.com, and check out the program. Travel is a wonderful vehicle to heal.